If you don't have these 3 basic handgun skills, then you're completely unprepared for self-defense. Hey, my name's Caleb Lee, and if you don't know me yet, I'm the #1 best-selling author of Concealed Carry 101, and I'm also the founder of Patriot Training Center, where we've trained hundreds of people in our live gun training classes for pistols, rifles, and shotguns. And in today's video, I want to talk to you about the 3 most critical handgun skills that you absolutely must have if you want to be prepared to defend yourself or your family. Now again, these are fundamental handgun skills that you must have. There's nothing advanced or super tactical about these, but they're very, very important. So let's get into it. Number 1 is being able to draw from concealment. Drawing from concealment is a skill set that is extremely important if you're carrying a gun for self-defense, because if you have to use your gun and you're out in the world, it's going to be a surprise, violent attack, and you have to be able to get the gun out in order to use it. So drawing your handgun from concealment is an extremely important skill. In fact, you could say it's the most important skill. And if you only have your gun for home defense, then those same skills that you build drawing your gun from concealment will work even better in home defense. There's a lot of different skills that go into having a very good draw to first shot from concealment, but primarily it's about being able to get the cover garment out of the way reliably, consistently, pretty much every single time, getting a good grip on the gun and getting it into action quickly as possible so you can get that first shot off accurately when you need it to happen. So it has to happen right away. It has to happen without you thinking about it. And subconsciously, if you need the gun in your hand, you just draw and the gun comes up. Now, you should definitely practice and know how to draw with one hand, because you may have to move somebody, innocent people, out of the way, or your hand may be attached to something and you may have to draw with one hand. So you should know how to do that. But primarily, you should practice using both hands, because anytime that we can get both hands on the gun, that's going to give us a much better result. So even if this hand is injured, getting it on the gun is going to give you some stability. So I practice mostly two-handed drawing, but know how to draw with one hand if necessary. Now, the problem here is that for many people, they go and they practice at an indoor range that doesn't even allow drawing from a holster, or many people just simply have never been taught how to properly draw from the holster. So first thing first is you have to learn the correct techniques so that you can effectively draw from the holster from concealment and do it the right way. And then you need to practice it. And if you're at a range where you're allowed to practice that and do the shooting portion together, that's great. That's going to be the easiest way to do it. But you can always practice your draw from concealment and dry fire. And then if you're at an indoor shooting range or a place where they won't allow you to draw from a holster, then you can practice the press out, the final motion of when your hands meet together, count 3 of the draw stroke, and you're pressing the gun out and you're finishing that first shot. But it's a very, very important skill. In fact, I would say it's the most foundational, most important skill for somebody that's going to conceal carry. That draw from concealment to first shot, you should try to overdevelop. And then number 2, most critical handgun skill, you should kind of learn everything, but you should be practicing the most likely scenarios, kind of applying the 80-20 rule. None of us has all the time or all the ammo in the world to practice and learn and shoot all the different things that we could be doing. So we should focus on the most likely outcomes. And we should train at the most likely distances that those outcomes will be happening at. So while it's good to practice bullseye shooting at like 25 yards or further away shots, in reality, most violent street crime happens at very close kind of conversational distances, somewhere between 3 and 7 yards, where 80 to 90% of these violent crimes happen. We have actually, on some YouTube channels, there's like over 35,000 real life actual incidents caught on videotape. And then we also have the good folks at Rangemaster have over 70 students that have been involved in defending themselves with a handgun. And what we see consistently is 80% of this happens at very close distances, closer than most people might think, and that 3 to 7 yards kind of distance, which makes sense because obviously a criminal has to get close to you in order to assault you or to rob you and try to get your belongings or get what they want from your person. So these things happen at a very close distance, closer than most people think. So it's important for you to train in those most likely distances for the majority of your time. Again, somewhere around like 80% of the time, training at these more realistic distances that we find that street crime happens. In the same way, home defense. I don't live in a huge, big mansion, so 7 yards inside a house is actually a pretty long distance. That's 21 feet. That's a pretty big room. So maybe you have a hallway and it extends out to that kind of distance, but most of the time, these things are going to happen pretty up close and personal. And these things happen at these distances. That means these things happen fast, because if someone's closer to you, all the reaction times are minimized. Everything's going to be happening very quickly at that type of distance, so there's no time to mess around. So while you can practice a lot of different things, you can practice reloads and malfunctions, I think the majority of your time should be practice over-developing that draw to first shot from concealment, and then doing it at these realistic distances in which we actually find ourselves having to use a gun to defend ourselves. All right, so number 3, to kind of bring it all together, knowing what we know, you have to be able to get the gun out quickly, efficiently, and get multiple good hits on a realistic sized target at a relatively close distance. So because it is a close distance, you don't have a whole lot of time to aim. And because it's a close distance, you don't have a lot of reaction time. you are in a surprise violent attack, so you have to get the gun out and get rapid multiple shots off in a very short amount of time, and they have to be accurate as well. So that's why we developed the 3-second minimum drill standard here at Patriot Training Center. It's 3 shots in 3 seconds or less. And if you go down in the description below, you can click a link and you can sign up for that, and you can get the complete video and written instructions, also a downloadable printable target so you can take it to the range and shoot it, the official drill target. And all the instructions are there for you, and why the drill was developed, why those distances are important, why we chose that, and why we think this is a minimum standard that everybody should challenge themselves to train for.